Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Catherine and this is Raspberry Reads. I have a quick catch-up video for you today. So these are some of the books that I am currently reading in May. I say some because, as many of you will know, I always have so many books on the go. I think my Goodreads says I technically have about 15 books on the go. Many of those I haven't picked up in over a year. So the books that I wanted to share with you today, I've got four books that I can confidently say I am making progress with. The first two, I'm just going to give a quick mention to because I've already spoken about them quite a lot on my channel. The Book Thief by Markus Zusak is one of them. I'm reading this as a physical book and I'm around 70% through it. So this is a classic historical fiction work set in the Second World War. Apologies for the doorbell. And it is narrated by Death and it follows Liesel, who's a young girl in a foster home who steals books. And yeah, it's a very creative book. Very much enjoying my reading experience with that one. And this is one of the books that I was hoping to finish by the end of June. The second book that I've mentioned before on my channel is The Foundling by Stacey Halls. I'm reading this as an ebook at the moment, and The Foundling is historical fiction. It is also mystery because you've got Bess is the main protagonist, and Bess, through no fault of her own, has to leave her newborn daughter at the Foundling Hospital. And then when she finally saves up enough money to go and claim her daughter Clara with the appropriate identification, Clara has already been claimed by Bess, and yeah, the mystery sort of goes from there. So yes, I'm about a quarter of the way through this book, and yeah, taking my time with it, mainly because I'm focusing on reading other books, and this is the book that I dip in and out of, if I'm waiting for the bus or if I'm on the bus and we're stuck in traffic type of thing. But I am enjoying my reading experience with that one. And then the other two books that I'm currently working my way through are audiobooks. The one that I'm most active reading is A Little Trickery by Rosanna Pike. This was all over the place last year. I think it came out at the end of 2024, but it was quite popular last year. I saw it in quite a few bookshops. And this is historical fiction, and it's a really hard one to describe. It's not like any historical fiction I've ever come across before. It's quite vulgar. There's a lot of F words used in it, and the dialect is quite unusual in it. But it centers on Tib, who is a young girl, like teenager, and a vagabond. And Tib tours around England. This is set in the Tudor period. She tours around England as a vagabond, homeless person, and then she ends up meeting some friends along the way, and they decide to basically like do a hoax at a church. And that's the trickery, the little trickery. And I won't say any more than that because it would kind of spoil it. But yeah, I'm finding this one quite funny. I like that the chapters are fairly short. You can get through, a chapter in a couple of minutes, and I like that style. I'm finding it really funny and engaging. The only thing I will say is that if you didn't know, if you didn't read the blurb to know that it was set in the Tudor period, you'd be hard pressed to identify that generally. There are references to Henry VIII, and I think Henry VIII, yeah, which can kind of position you in the Tudor period. But other than that, from the style that she speaks, from most of the references to dress and food and architecture, it's just not very clear. So as a historical fiction work, I would say that it falls short. But as just a humorous work of fiction, it is enjoyable. So yeah, I'm 80% through A Little Trickery, and I will say more when I finish that book. And then the last book that I wanted to mention is The Storyteller's Death by Anne de Villa Cardinal. I'm sure I'm butchering that name, but this book is set it's set in the US, and it's set in both in New Jersey and in Puerto Rico. And it's a family saga, and it's about Isla, and she is a young girl who spends most of her summers in Puerto Rico with her extended family. Her mother is a professional businesswoman who is also an alcoholic, and so it's best for Isla to go and spend her time with her grandmother and her extended family as much as possible. And there's more to it than that, but I won't go into it. And but the storyteller's death name is basically about the women in the family have this sort of special power that they can recount stories from the family's past, but almost as if they are living it. So, like, almost as if they've been transported back to that point so they can witness it firsthand. And so, they would know details that nobody else would, even if somebody had kind of recounted it to them. So yeah, that was a really interesting premise, and I'm enjoying it so far. So it is magical realism. And I suppose there's a little bit of historical fiction as well, because you do kind of go back in time. Really interesting characters, really interesting premise. And I like the relationship between Isla and her mother. It's quite tense and fraught. But I prefer the parts of the book that are set in Puerto Rico. And yeah, I'm 65% through this book, and enjoying my reading journey with it. So yeah, those are the 4 books that I'm currently working on. And kind of a mixed bag, but I am enjoying my reading adventures for the month of May. Going into June, I'm sure I won't finish all of these, so some of them will carry over into June, but I'm waiting to see if read historical fiction is going to come back, and if it does, then I will be prioritizing reading historical fiction. But yeah, I would love to know what you are currently reading. If you've got any books that you'd like to recommend to me or my other viewers, please put your thoughts in the comments. And with that being said, I hope you're all well. I hope you're enjoying whatever it is that you're reading, and I will see you soon in a new video. Take care. Bye.